Buenos Dias Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Guard! It's another one. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a mother smack at it. Bye-ya. 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 What it is, you can tell by the thumbnail. What it is stupid young. And we're about to get young. Very stupidly. Now trip out. In a menudo style of direct fashion, a lot of gente got in my DMs, a lot of gente dropped me messages yesterday. The raza's concerned, they say. The raza's in an uproar. And when the raza gets at your boy one time for his mentality, I definitely have to trip out on what they're speaking on because I wasn't aware. My awareness was down, eh? Hey, Sprinkle the Woods. Hey, what do you mean your awareness was down, brother? I heard your awareness is over. Yeah, it is up when it comes to you out there, but when it comes to other people, I'm lacking in my macking. But now I'm attacking. I trip out. But I'm going to keep it respectful and I'm going to keep it real because here's the real deal. Here's my perspective. Here's my take on if Stupid Young, the rapper, the Asian rapper, disrespected the Southern raza, the raza from the South. Now I'm from up north. They said, hey, well then you shouldn't say nothing. Well, I'm going to say a whole lot of things because at the same time, in the meantime, in between time, watch out. Brown, going green, tattoos. Look, trip out on this. People started getting at me yesterday talking about, hey, Gun, did you see the video that Stupid Young did with China Mac, where he disrespected the Southsiders and said that he banged harder, or that the Asians in them times were banging harder. Now, let me explain something to you. You know, knowledge you can't get in college. In the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, everybody banged hard, homes. Everybody banged 3 or 4 times harder than everybody. It wasn't necessarily one group. I can't say the Asians were banging harder, or the Southsiders were banging harder, the Norteños were banging harder. No, at that time, everybody, that's what it was. See, that enraptured and encaptured your lifestyle. The lifestyle that we lived in the early 90s was gangbanging. That was the mentality. Colors, boys in the hood, menace to society later on. Everything that we've seen around us, blood in, blood out, American Me, all these movies were pinpointed to encapture the minds of the youth and show them that gangbanging was just cool. La primera vez, órale, you know what I mean? Kill him, kill him. Vatos were all involved and wanted to be that. I remember when Boys in the Hood dropped, everybody thought they were Doughboy. We got a problem? I said, do we got a problem, right? And when, of course, you know, American Me dropped, everybody watched with their hands behind their culo because they didn't want no smoke, right? And then, of course, you had movies like Colors, and man, that was so different. You know, that was the first one. When that dropped, everybody was cripping and blooded. You have homeboys that are camaradas right now, that are righteous homeboys right now. Sasuke, they got cuz covered up with a rose on their back. Now, look, it's just facts. It's the way it was. Okay? Gangbanging was an essential part of life, especially if you lived in the LA area or areas that were overpopulated with raza. Okay? Barrios, hoods, street turf, politics, things of that nature. That's what it all came down to. That's what it was. Because now, trip out, at the end of the day, every group that was defining themselves, that was establishing their barrios and their roots, banged hard. So I watched that China Mac and Stupid Young video. And people were like, hey, he's disrespecting, he's disrespecting, he's disrespecting. I didn't really see no disrespect, you know, myself. I seen a few words that he might have, could have switched up. He might have, could have, should have, would have, but he didn't. Guard! I said he didn't. Doesn't mean the vato was being disrespectful. Now, you know, some people take things a certain way and some people are reaching. People are reaching, you know. They're constantly trying to make something into nothing. You know, to say that the Asians in them times banged 3 or 4 times harder than the Mexicans is not disrespect. It's not a lacking of awareness. It's not keeping it real. What it is that man's perspective and how he felt. Now, he's young. So he's only going based on historia and the history taught to him. And of course, the history taught to him on his side is going to be biased. Isn't it like that for all of us? Dispensa la tira. Con permiso en la tira. We won every battle according to my homeboys, yet we never had a chance to win that war, right? Your people are always going to speak and give you the clecha and give you the game from their point of view, from their perspective on it. They ain't never going to tell you about the time you guys got, the vatos were kicking you in your culo. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you about how they got stomped. They're not going to talk about all that. They're always going to talk about, hey, we pulled up on the vatos and chop season. Yeah, well, they're going to tell you about all that, and then you're going to run with that, and that's what you're going to base your game on to give to the next generation. That's how it is. Stupid Young was not around in them times. He's not old enough to understand the plight of what his homeboys at that time were really, really honestly going through. Guess what? Newsflash. I was, right? Let me tell you something. Even being up north in Northern California, you got to understand everybody has had, their fights and their battles with other races. Everybody has had, gotten in the mix with Asians and blacks and brown and whites. Yeah, the Woods. Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir. The Woods held it down, brother. Right? Yes, the Woods. Mighty white of them. Now, trip out. In them 90s, the Asians out of Long Beach and that area were dangerous. The Mexicans, the Longos, the Longueros, out of the east, west, and north side were dangerous. Everybody carried themselves with the whole aura of dangerous mentality. It's just what it was, right? Anyone that knows, knows. See, I was incarcerated down south in the youth authority at that time. And I've told the story over and over again, how when the TRGs used to come in, every Longo that was in there used to get up out his chair and grab his chair and throw it at him. That's just how it was. And I said that TRGs also likewise would get off where they were mad at every single time. See, let me tell you something. Being a Norteño, we were looked at and we were ridiculed and we were persecuted and we were oppressed and we were told, hey, wear your shirt, and we were told you can't use the microwave, and we were told, it was going down. But never once did it go down the way it went down with them TRGs. They were trying to do bad things to them. They were trying to maim them. And it went both ways. Now, there was some type of hatred there. And after extensively talking to people, I said, damn, why you guys hate the Asians so much? It necessarily wasn't all Asians at that time. It became that, but more so it was the TRGs because of the conflicting natures of the get down between the TRGs and the Longos at that time. Now you got to understand, of course, the Asians were banged out. They were handling their business. They had a lot of gente coming from overseas that were stationing themselves right there in the Longo area, and they were handling their business. Now at that time, yes, there was guerra. Yes, there was war on them calles. And it started to spill over into the community, and innocent people on both sides were being targeted. They were being hit for no other reason than they were brown or they were yellow, right? Or however you want to call it, right? They were getting hit for being Asians, innocent Asians and innocent brown people, paisas and just regular Chicanos. And what did that do? Well, the big fellas that were incarcerated seen that and felt that for no other reason, a verde needed to be out there. Now, there was a verde out there on all Asians at one point in time in the 90s. Oh yes, there was, right? And that became an ugly situation. When a group gets a verde, for those of you that don't know what a verde is, reply to the Gunner Handbook, and it's going to be right there, and you're going to see me going, eee. That means you're toe up, from the flow up, right? You don't want one of those. But when you get the attention of those that count, those that are well respected, in the words of Dubs, the legends, that's when it gets ugly. Because these vatos, are trying to do their own thing and maintain how they maintain us, their business. And when you shed light on yourself, homes, and you attract attention like that, unwanted and unwarranted attention, guess what's going to happen? It's spaghetti-o, right? It's going to be all bad. Next thing you know, you can't go nowhere. I think I'm going to go to the restaurant with this hyena. Son, I was just trying to go to a restaurant with the hyena. I know what you were trying to do, but there's a green on you. You ain't going nowhere, Holmes. Best thing to do is stay right there in your closet, go to fucking slingshot, and just wait and hope that they don't know who you are or where you're at. And that's just what it is. So at that time, it did. And it wasn't because, like Stupid Young said, and I didn't take it disrespectful. I didn't see nothing disrespectful about it. He only spoke from a perspective of not really knowing. When he said the reason that they got this green was because they were banging 3 or 4 times harder than the Mexicans. Never, nope, can't happen, shall not happen, will not happen. See, everybody was putting in their work, homeboy. There's hitters from every different area. Asians, blacks, Warriors, Southsiders, Norteños, boom. There's hitters from everywhere. See, it comes in waves. I don't know about your neighborhood, Stupid Young, and I'm talking to you directly. I know you're going to watch this, so there's no disrespect. It's all respects. I like your music. You go hard. And I know you show a lot of love to the Northerners. I see you doing your dang thing at the same time, right? This can elevate, escalate to something much more than it needs to, and we're going to get there right now. The wind's blowing this morning, right? So trip out. Knowledge you won't get in college. You got to understand, in my barrio, things went in waves. There was hitters and there were some quitters, right? There were some vatos that were really about the business and in the mix, and then there was some that were just there to just post up and be there and to play the role. They looked the part, homes, but they weren't really with that part. They weren't really with funk season. They got funky in that season. And let me tell you, it went in waves. Homeboys would come out and be dangerous and tell you, better lock the doors, because people are trying to huff and puff and blow every block down. And then people would get locked up, some would die, whatever the case may be, some would fall off, and everything was cool again. Smooth sailing. And then what would happen? A couple homeboys would get out again, hitters, and boop, 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 boop. See, every hood and every vaudeville has always had that. No matter what race you are. See, it's not a racial thing. No matter who you are, there's always been hitters, people that put in just that much more work than maybe, say, the next man. But to sit here and say, oh, the Asians at that time was banging 3 times or 4 times harder, maybe you meant to say they were having to bang 3 times or 4 times harder just based on the number situation. See, it's Norteños feel the same way, homeboy, when they're incarcerated in prison. It feels like they have to go out to the yard and maintain 3 or 4 times harder because of the sheer numbers of the Southsiders, of the sheer, the way that they carry themselves. I don't want to just be disrespectful because that's not how I rock. But, the way that they carry themselves and the sheer numbers that they have, they have an aura of arrogance. Like no one else matters to them, only what they got going on. And I can understand that. See, in the yarda and the pin, nothing else matters but what you got going on, homeboy. That's how it is. Pensa la tira ese. Con permiso en la tira. All that matters is what you and yours got going on. And you ain't rocking the boat for nobody. Now trip out. So all that 3 or 4 times harder than the Mexicans, not Charlie Holmes, you were having, or it felt like your homeboys had to go 3 or 4 times harder to compete with the Mexicans. That's a fact, okay? That's how it really went down. Now, I understand that Stupid Young has been involved in controversy with Swifty Blaze, right? A vato that says the southern side, not the other side, he feels he's a representation of the South. The southern, maybe the southern community, the rap community, whatever the case may be. Shout out some respects to Swifty Blue. Make sure you guys check in because if you don't, I don't know, he might go do a push-up at your house. One thing I know for sure, if you let that beef right there spill over to the Calles, or you let that beef right there because I seen that Stupid Young, you called him out, got at him some type of way, felt some type of way, feel like he's not willing to, handle that business with you or whatever. It could be a setup to your fed up. Now that's hard. I don't know. You can't let that beef spill out into the communities between the Asians and the brown. You understand there's always been friction down south with the Asians and the brown for many, many, many years. But lately, Holmes, there's a lot of unity and a lot of canalismo and a showing of love because people that really went through that guerra, people that really went through them times, that banged 3 or 4 times harder than everyone else, because that whole era was doing that, right? Know what it is, bro. There's a lot of bloodshed, a lot of blood spill, a lot of people crying out from the concrete. It's just what it is. And a lot of people don't want to go back to slinging yayo. See, a lot of people don't want to take it back there. It's because guard! They don't want to go see a guard. They don't want to get locked up. They don't want to bury another homeboy. They don't want to bury an innocent. That's what it is. But a conflict between 2 people, order the Biggie and Pac, a conflict between 2 people can start to turn that way. Now, I understand China Mac has a beautiful podcast. I love his work, man. Shout out to China Mac for doing what he does. But I don't believe that China Mac is really up on LA or California politics. He doesn't really know the real deal when it comes. He's learning, though. And he's learning fast. The Vatos from New York City, righteously East Coast, man. Shout out, respects. This is the West Coast, though. It gets different over here, right? And one thing I will say that's actual and factual. These are straight facts coming from a real one. I do believe China Mac is as real as they get, but I don't think he understands the politics of what could happen behind a situation of someone taking words and twisting them. Do I believe Stupid Young was being disrespectful to the Mexicanos and the big fellas? Absolutely not. I didn't hear nothing disrespectful in his words other than, of course, him trying to uplift his people and make his people look, that much better than anyone else. Who doesn't, eh? If you talk to a Mexicano, you're doing an interview, he's never going to talk down on his people. If he does, he's a sellout and a poop butt. Okay, no George Lopez. It's just not how it is, right? We all try to uplift the spirits of our gente and make our gente prosper. It's what it do, man. Factuals and actuals. Now, in the meantime, in between time, people tend to run with what they think is derogatory. I had people all in my DMs, hey, did you see he disrespected? I was mad. This is my blood started boiling. I felt like a top ramen that was overflowing, right? I got at it. I looked at it. I reanalyzed it. I called Dubs. You see this shit, right? We went back and forth, and we decided that for no other reason, or I decided as a man, because I do man things, he also, as a man, decided like, hey, man, I ain't really seen no disrespect. You see it? No, other than he said this, but at the same time, he told truths and maybe less than truths. Truth being, yes, at that time, the verde was given out, yes, and it was funky. It got real spunky out there in the streets, in the harbor area, in the LA area. It got very, very spunky, but at the same time, you need to understand that the verde was not because Vatos couldn't handle their business or Vatos were banging harder than everyone else. No, it was because innocence. Innocents were getting oppressed. Innocents were getting caught up in gunfire, man. And everyone knows that citizens and innocents, man, shouldn't be involved in that. They should be immune to that. Now, there's casualties of war. Things happen, bro. You know, bullets don't have no name. They go wherever they want to go, you know, especially if you don't know what you're doing. You're doing it this way when you should be doing it this way, right? And allegedly. I'm just saying, one thing I am saying that's real, though, is bodies started to drop of innocents, man. And that is why I've been told, laced up, because I wasn't right there. I wasn't the fucking cucaracha on the cell when Vatos wrote the Huila. But I know one thing is for sure, you know, that's what I've been told, and that's what's been passed down through my history and gamed up. And most of the game is real that's been given to me, right? And it was like, hey, Vatos were doing a little too much. Now, the Asian community, man, is a different type of community. You know, I've always showed them nothing but love. In my city, we all get along, man. You know, us and the Asians, we function together. And the reason why that's been is because they're a very close-knit, tight, family-orientated community that are very quiet and do their own thing, but they know how to get spunky, real chunky like Monkey, Ben and Jerry's, right? They don't play, homeboy. You know, you ain't never, you don't play with the Asians. They got 50 type caliber things, right? They're just different. I don't care where they're from, whether it be MOD, TRG, Asian boys, you know, they all know how to get real, you know, real crazy. Now, chip out. What happens is when people run with these words and think that people are trying to disrespect or saying that Stupid Young is disrespect, you know, because they see the ongoing beef with him and Swifty. They see how it looks like he's against the southern side, not the other side. How it looks, you know, there might be some type of animosity that he has a chip on his shoulder and someone's ready to knock the block off. But that don't mean nothing. What does mean something is you have to think bigger than yourself. See, there's a bigger picture. There's a lot of brown people and a lot of Asian people, man, that are out there just struggling, striving every day and don't want that smoke. They don't need that smoke. You know, don't start no smoke, won't be no smoke. You got any smoke? Right? They don't want that. Or the strawberry. They're just not, they're cool. And what's going to happen is because of words spoken, people are going to take it out of context, man. And next thing you know, there's going to be division there. And it can get ugly fast. See, it did. In the 90s, it was very, very ugly. For those that didn't have to live through that, hey, you better thank your lucky stars, right? Or for those that did, that's right, OGs. Real ones know what it is. And that's just it. So, from my perspective on the point, and I could have just did this without rambling and telling you guys a whole little history lesson, knowledge you couldn't get in college, but I know you guys like it first thing in the morning. One thing I'll say is facts. I don't think he meant to disrespect anyone. I just think he meant to say his people are hard. And yeah, no doubt. But you know, when your hood, it's up to your hood and your people to let you know the type of wreck you could have got them in, or to let you know, the type of people that you're dealing with. That's it, because you seem to not be. I don't know. People sleep on the south side. It's weird, right? I don't. I respect everyone, but you've not done time side by side with these Vatos. These Vatos are deep and different, homes. Doesn't matter how hard you think you are, because you got to quit the homes. At the end of the day, if you're living that street life, you're going to find yourself incarcerated. And if you find yourself incarcerated, the Southsiders run the majority of the yards in the California Department of Corrections, and they're going to correct you. Yes, they will. Yes, indeed. And there's nothing you absolutely can do about it. You can get off, keep getting off, keep going to the oil, and guess what? The tier tender is going to be a Southsider. The Wata, when you come out to go to take a shower and give you a roll, is going to be a Southsider. They're so deep, they hold every position. That's what it is. They go to Southsider for every bump on your face, man. And that's just what it's going to be like. I'm not saying conform or be subservient or be scared, homes, because that's absolutely not how I rock. But I'm saying be aware, homeboy, and know and understanding that you might have the cueta out there, but in there, the only thing you're going to have is a tattoo gun, because things change. Anyways, with that being said, shout out to Stupid Young. I don't think he disrespected anyone. I think people are going crazy over a whole lot of nada, and we shouldn't do that, because that can get to the bigger guys that can feel some type of way, and then it can get real ugly, So shout out, some respects to the Asian community, man. This has one guy's words have no bearing on everyone else. That's how I feel. Shout out Raza for stepping up and saying, hey, that's on a tira. That's on his gunner. Get him. Well, I got at him. And that's just what it is. Shout out to China Mac for conducting himself in the professional manner. He's learning those street politics as he goes. You know what it is. And 12 the raza, man, we're going to stay brown. We're going to stay down, homeboy. We're down for the get down. Simone, I said, let's get down. Right now in the dirt. What's the matter? They're afraid they're going to get hurt? You know what it is. With that being said, I hope that you move with a purpose. Get every single thing that you want coming to you. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about you and yours and your familia, man. Your familia. Not mine. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to do what I does for mine. Do your thing. Hit me with that thumbs up if you like it. Hit that notification bell, like, and subscribe, because I do this on YouTube every single day. For you, for me, for everybody. For my familia. It's what it is. If you don't like me, for some reason, you're going to be a hater. Don't need no hateration, holleration, penetration. I'm trying to win. Órale tortas from Bust down, Tortiana. You know what it is, Mamon. Look, with that being said, hit me with that thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head, though. Where's the crown? I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for what I honestly, truly believe in. That's bringing everyone together. Simon, Asians. And what about the woods, brother? You guys are always there. Are you? Thank you, brother. What you going to do? Orale, this is the gun. You know what it is. Raza, stand up. Bang, bang.